Isn't this fun? Lots of planning and planning. We're planning to make the plan of the plan.
Oh my goodness.
Alrighty, sir. What are we talking about this week?
So we decided to take a trip, right, to
Yes.
Disney World there in Orlando.
Yes.
Before our big move in June.
Right. We are going in January.
Right.
And
It's a little overwhelming, like having to put it all together. You know, where do you start? I guess.
Yeah.
My question.
well, the good news is this time we're going with the children.
Mm-hmm.
We call them children, but they're all adults.
Yes.
Well, we've got an 18-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 26-year-old.
Yes.
So that's a lot easier. Now I've gone many times when they were a lot smaller, a lot younger, and that's definitely, you definitely want to plan. You want to plan ahead. So number one, before we even move on, we're talking about Disney World. So I'm talking about Disney World in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to make sure when you're buying your flights and you're buying your tickets and you're planning all the things that you're going to the right park.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be going to so Olivia was saying that she found out somebody had bought their flights and they were to Florida, but the tickets to Disneyland in California. So
Oops.
yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So okay, so this is what I would do. Are you going to ask me what I would do first?
What would you do first?
I'm glad you. So this is the thing. Luckily I've gone a lot of times, and so people will ask me like, how do you plan for Disney? So first of all, if you're looking at, like, you're saying, okay, we want to go to Disney, but we want to go next year. You don't know when you want to go. You're just kind of was like, that's kind of the plan. You want to look at the different times of year that you want to go. Because the truth is Disney's an expensive trip. You're going to spend some money. You're going to spend a lot of money, and whatever you think you're going to spend, you're going to end up spending more. Mm-hmm. So it's up to you whether you want to do something like I used to do. I'd pull the kids out of school and I would go during the school year because there would be less people attending the park. And to me it was worth it, to be able to pull them out for a few days of school and then being able to do that. So, but there's certain times of year that there's stuff going on. So let's say that you want to attend the Food and Wine Festival, then you're going to want to go in the fall. If it's the Flower and Garden Festival, you want to go during the spring, that time. So you can just look on the website, you can look there, and then they can give you all the dates and things like that. And you can see when it's going to be busy. So first of all, you want to pick your dates. That's for sure. That way you know like what you're going to expect. Because if you're going to go during spring break, you're going to go during Christmas or 4th of July, or summertime, then you got to know you're going to see there's going to be like way more people. Mm-hmm. The ticket price is actually a little more expensive on those dates, but you're going to have longer wait times and all that kind of stuff. So you got to be sure that you got to know what you're getting into. So if you can afford to pull them out of school for a few days, then I would definitely go on some of those days that there are like less people.
And so when you're looking at the actual budget, like, what did you usually budget?
Well, that's a good question. I would round about it. It really depends if you're going to stay on property, because it's a little more expensive if you're going to stay at one of the Disney-owned hotels, or if you're going to stay off property. But you're going to budget about at least $1,000 a person, easy. Mm-hmm. And that's without the flights, easy. Oh, okay. That would be a really good. So if you can get really good flights, and then you got to figure out from there. It really depends on how many days. Now I'm talking about maybe about 3 to 5 days. You can do something like that. You can budget, but it really, you gotta plan ahead. You're talking about, okay. So sometimes when you plan, you got to think about the non-negotiable or the super special moments that for sure you want to get done. So this is what I would do. If your kids, this is the first time you go as a family or whatever it is, you might want to say, look, these are the things we really, really want to do. You sit down the kids, you sit down everybody, and you say, what is it that you want to do? Somebody might say, well, I really, really want to see a parade. I really, really want to meet Winnie the Pooh. Okay. And that's like a non-negotiable. Like that's the dream. That's the idea. So like you want to do that.
So that's something easily is able to plan.
It's easier to plan your whole trip. Like, look, you don't want to leave and the kids disappointed. And let me tell you something that happened to us. when Olivia was little. So when one time we went, and Olivia, our middle child, our daughter, she was young and she really wanted to meet Mary Poppins.
Okay.
So she didn't get to meet Mary Poppins till, I want to say, either the middle of the first or second day, and she was not happy until then. She was having a good time, but she was like, when am I going to meet Mary Poppins? When am I going to meet Mary Poppins? When am I going to meet? So when she got to meet Mary Poppins, and everything was like wonderful and fantastic and great. So the thing is that if you want to be able to try to build that in, and if it's like this, if it's a child such as ours that really was interested in meeting Mary Poppins, you want to do that as soon as possible.
Okay.
The thing is, the easiest way to see Mary Poppins is to attend a character dining experience. Mary Poppins happens to be at the Grand Floridian at breakfast or lunch. If you go there, there's a way to get onto either the website, or if you buy one of those Disney kind of books, or it's easier to go online, and you can see which characters are at which dining experiences. So you can meet Mickey Mouse at certain ones, you can meet, and they're great because you're eating, the food's really good, it costs a little bit more than table service, but you're going to eat as much as you want. You can actually take a few like fruits or snacks with you in your backpack from there. It's okay to do that. But the characters are there, and they'll come to the table. They come to the table, and you'll meet several, not just one. There'll be like 5, but they're not the same at each dining experience.
So it's not something you have to request.
You have to for sure make that reservation as soon as possible.
Oh, for a table, but you don't have to request that
You don't request that they come over. You just wait. They come over. They sign your book. They take pictures. They take whatever, and they, if they are a face, they can chit chat with the kids.
So how far in advance do you have to?
Very good.
Put a reservation in.
So you can reserve a character dining meal or any kind of dining reservation at Disney 60 days out. So if you want to go to Cinderella's royal table because you want to eat inside the castle and you want to meet all those princesses, you better be there 60 days out, waiting there with your phone. Like the minute that you're 60, you got to book it. And even then, it might sell out. I mean, you might not get lucky. Then you're going to have to say, okay, well, we can meet that princess maybe at a different place, because maybe she's not going to be like, you can meet also the princesses at Akershus, which is a different restaurant in Epcot. So you can say, okay, well, I couldn't get into Cinderella's royal table, but I could get into this one, and the princesses are there too. So you just got to do a little research, but you really have to do, if there's a character dining, you want to book those as soon as possible. And those are 60 days out, or any restaurant.
So 60 days is the most that you can. Okay.
And you want to do that. You want to do that. I mean,
so that's something you definitely want to put on your calendar.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is okay. Let's back up a little bit. So, depending on how many days you're going to go to Disney, what you want to do is, once you decide on your dates, let's say like we know we're going to go in January, right? So the first thing I did was I go to the dates that we're going to be there. Whatever it is, January 14, 15, 17, whatever your dates are. And you can go to the website, Disney website, and this is what you really want to do. It's very important. You want to go there and then see what the times are that the parks are going to be open. Because sometimes, depending on the time of year you go, there might be having a special event. Let's say it's during Christmas, they have the Very Merry Christmas Party. Or during the fall, they have the Not So Scary Halloween Party, right? So on the days that they have those special events, that park will close earlier.
Okay.
So that way you know ahead of time. You know that if you just say, oh, Monday we're going to go to Magic, and Tuesday we're going to go to blah, 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 and Thursday you're going to go. Well, then you plan it, and you get there, and you're like, yay, we're at Magic Kingdom. And they say, by the way, you got to leave by 6. Because unless you have that, it's another ticket that you have to buy to go to that special event. So what I like to do is I go first when I know my dates. Then I go look on the website, and they have these like way months out. So you can see what time is the park closing, and what time is it opening, because you're like, okay, well, you know what, this one stays open till 6, but this one stays open till 9 on Monday. So I'm going to go to that one so I can get more hours, and then you can you know, get more for your money and make sure that you're there and that your children, you know, the kids won't be disappointed and stuff. And then be like, oh, we didn't have a ticket to the Halloween parties, and you're gonna get kicked out.
So they move you out.
The people that don't have tickets for those special events get out. But but let's say that there's a day that they have that special event, and you just buy a special event ticket, then you can go in usually a couple hours before the event begins. Like if the event begins at 6 or so, that you can get in right 4:30 or so, and then you get to stay extra late. And so that day, maybe after you've been, go ahead.
So if a park's closing at 6. And another park closes at 9. I guess provided that you bought that park hopper, you can go. But if you don't get the hopper,
you can't go.
You're out of luck.
You're out of it. And so you need to buy that park hopper option, which is a little more expensive for your ticket, and then you can hop to the other park. You can. So sure, like if they're gonna have a special event, you can just say, okay, we're gonna go to Magic Kingdom for the morning, and then you're gonna hop to another park like Epcot or wherever that would close later in the day.
Yeah.
So you can definitely do that.
I've only been there 3 times now, I guess, right? And I think the biggest thing that kind of sticks out in my mind is just having to be very flexible.
For sure.
Sometimes rides go down and, you know, they're having to fix or do some stuff. Like the last time that we were there. Yeah.
Are you talking about something specific where I went, and you went, yay?
Yeah, the Tower of...
Terror.
Yeah.
And Rock and Roller Coaster. Both. We had our, you know, we had it all set up to go.
But we got to go to Star Wars. That was cool.
Yeah, that's what you were excited about. And then
It
we
was
had
awesome.
to hop.
I loved it.
We had to hop because we had a dining reservation. So boo. But okay,
So the being flexible sometimes.
Absolutely.
But having the park hopper, right, or that was called park hopper, helps you to be more flexible, I guess. If something comes up, we can go to.
Yeah, you can hop over. Yes, you're right. You're right, because something might happen, right? Because if the child says, "I really, really, really want to ride Dumbo's ride," or whatever it is, and just for some reason it happens to be down.
Yeah, and for the record, this guy's not.
No, you're not a Dumbo rider.
Anything that goes in circles is not good for me.
Okay, let me put another one. Let me see. What is it that you like? Rides
There's
the
a lot of rides.
resistance.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you'd be able to. You're right. I hadn't thought about that because you can if you go opt to purchase the park hopper option, then on another day you could just ride that one thing and then hop back or whatever, because you can hop as many times. What's that hopper pass? It's not just once that you can use it. So yeah, but getting back to the flexible thing, especially if you're with little kids, you've got, I mean, I know it's hard, but you got to tell them, we got to be open to stuff that might not work out, but something else. You're going to have a magical experience no matter what. But sometimes it rains, sometimes the ride you want goes down, sometimes you get sleepy, sometimes, you know, the lines are long, not only for rides, but for food and things like that. So going back to that, I would book as many dining reservations as possible. Even if you're like, oh, well, we're not interested in character dining, we don't want to meet the characters because, like, we're going with older people, which might not, I mean, they've luckily been able to do that. I would still say, okay, let's look at the calendar. We're planning on going to Magic Kingdom this day, Epcot this day, Studios this day. Then you really want to get a dining reservation somewhere. Okay. So say, you know, and if you get online and be like, oh, well, we usually eat lunch at 12. You might want to look for a reservation at 12:10, 12:05. If you put that in when you search, then you might be able to, they'll say, oh, there's no tables available. They usually suggest other times, but if you kind of are flexible at the very beginning, then you can find a dining reservation. But I would definitely make that, especially at like Studios and Animal Kingdom, there aren't as many places to have a sit-down meal. Okay. So if if you can find a restaurant that you've never tried before or that you know.
So when you're scheduling things out, does it make more sense than to plan it around the dining things, or is it around the rides, or
Okay, that's a good question. But it's really up to your group, right? Because if your group is all about food and they want to experience amazing food, then that's your number one, right? You go there and say, this is what, like, we really want to go to Viennapoli and have a great pizza in Epcot. Then you want to, and sometimes you can go, now, in the old days, now everything's done online and whatever, but you could still call, like the old days, like I used to. And really, the people at the Walt Disney, like phone bank, whatever, super helpful. And what I would do is I used to tell them, like, we're going to be there from this week, from this date to this date. My child really, really wants to go to the sci-fi drive-in theater. Like, is it available at all during this day or this day? And they kind of were able to kind of search a little more. But if not, it's going to take some time that you have to understand that you got to make those reservations ahead of time and try to plan for all of that stuff. Yeah.
So what are some of the considerations that you made in the past that worked really well, like when you were planning the trips with the kids when they were younger, I guess?
Yeah, when they were little, then they really wanted to meet those characters. And so doing that character dining, like I said, is a little more expensive, but it's totally worth it because you get to meet the multiple characters in one shot. And not only that, the parents, the adults that are with the children, they still have a really good meal. You have a really good meal. So and when the younger they are, there's a difference in price. So there's a child option, and for the cost of it, and then the adult one. I think that's good because if they wanted to meet characters, you don't have to do it through a dining experience, but you're going to stand in line. So you're going to stand in line to meet Mulan or Alice in Wonderland or whatever it is, or Winnie the Pooh. There are spots in the parks where they are there and you can meet them, but you're just going to, it's really a matter of how you want to spend your money and spend your time, because everything at Disney is, time versus money and that kind of thing. So just like staying on property as opposed to staying off property. And so on property means that you're in a hotel owned by Disney. So obviously you're much closer. They have ways to get to and from the parks easily, buses and trams and monorails and boats. And now what do you call that thing? Ski lifting type liner thing. I don't even know because we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
But of course,
tram or something.
Yeah, it costs a Skyliner. But it costs a little more to stay on property. But
So is that worth it?
To me, it is.
Okay.
To stay off property, it might cost a little less, but it's going to cost more in your time because you're going to have to travel from off property onto property and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's really, and especially with little ones, it's easy. Let's say that you're in the parks, you want to go to the hotel, rest a little bit, and then go back. It's way easier if you're on property.
So I guess it ends up coming out almost equal if you're having to stay off property, because you have to pay for parking?
So you're either gonna pay in Uber or buses or whatever, or if you're driving, if you have a car, I think the parking's like $25 or something a day. If you're gonna park at the TTC, so then you're gonna have to come in, you're gonna have to pay, you're gonna have to park, you're gonna have to then ride a monorail to get into your parks and stuff like that. So you're gonna pay in either dollars or time.
Okay.
Either way, so yeah.
And so then planning, we're not going to have this problem this go, but I would assume when you're planning rides with little ones, I'm assuming there's a height.
Oh yeah.
Like thing.
So a lot of people ask me, when's the best time to take your child to Disney for the very first time? They're like, well, how old should they be? Should they be like 2? Should they be like 5? Should they be 6 or 12 or whatever it is? That's not what my answer is. My answer is always, how tall are they? And I say you decide on going to Disney when your child is tall enough to ride. Or deal with tears. Too bad. Like, that is what it is. Because, I mean, you can take them when they're little, you can take them when they're 2 and 3 and fine, and there's things for them to do.
Yeah.
But I speak from experience. When we were there one time and we just happened to be walking by at Epcot, we were walking by the Expedition Everest. I'm sorry, at Animal Kingdom. We were walking by Expedition Everest. It was supposed to open the following month, but they were already letting people ride it.
Okay.
So we were just having to walk by at the time. It was really lucky. And one of the cast members stepped out and said, hey, we're letting people ride this early, and if you guys would like, your family can ride. So we were like, are you kidding me? This is so exciting, because we were like, we're not going to be there when we can ride, right? So we're like, oh my gosh, we can ride this like early. So we got all excited, and we're like, yeah, we go. One of our little ones wasn't tall enough, and she was very unhappy about that. So my mom and our oldest got to ride, but I stayed behind with the middle. The little one wasn't born yet, but so she was not happy. So yeah, they're not really, children aren't very happy when they don't get like something they're really looking forward to doing. So I would make sure that the child is tall enough. I mean, for sure 44 inches. You can get, there are some rides 36 inches. You can check online also. Every ride has its limits and whatnot. But yeah, for sure you want them to be tall enough that they'll be able to, again, get your money's worth, but also that they're not disappointed and they have to miss out on riding something. So I'd wait until they're tall enough before I'd take them.
But I guess that would be enough to do if the family wasn't going to get on the rides?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I don't know why you'd want to not get on the ride. And why would that be?
Well, because they're too little, but is
I
there
see.
enough at the different parks?
Well, there's
that'll
also
keep them
something
entertained?
we need to look into this, but there's a system where it's like child, I can't remember what it's called. They can switch out, so parents can ride. Like, let's say if you and I went and we only had one child and the child was little, but we wanted to ride something, and so we could go in. I could get in line. I could ride while you sit out with our child, and then we switch out. We swap, and then you ride.
Okay.
And then I'd stay with the child, so we both would get to ride if the child's not tall enough. But so there are options that they do make allowances for things like that. But
You just have to make sure you prepare the kids.
well, and cast members were so good. That poor cast member that invited us to ride Expedition Everest. So our oldest daughter and my mom go and get on, and then I'm with the middle child, and she was like, and then the cast member felt so bad, and then I remember he was like, is there something else you want to ride? Can I? And she's like, no, and then he goes, do you like animals? And she goes, no. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, dude, there's no way you're not gonna make her happy. She's just like so upset because of course there was a big hype about Expedition Everest. Anyway, so she wasn't gonna be happy, but she had to get over it. Whatever. She's ridden them multiple times since then, but yeah, it's pretty. I mean, you just gotta.
And so, switching topic just a little bit now. So they have a meal plan, right? That you can get.
Yeah.
I know we've done it before,
Yeah.
where you get a certain amount of snacks and a certain amount of like dining meals as well.
I think that's coming back. I don't
Is
know
it?
what the price is. I think it's come back because it went away for a while, but I don't know what the price is now. I never did it when the kids were young because I just thought I wanted to be able to pick my meals and I wanted to be able to pick my times. And then later when we did it, I'm like, why haven't we been doing this the whole time?
Okay.
Because you can, or back in the old days, you need to go and check. The people would need to check to see what it is now, but sometimes since you could get those character dining as one, and then like a quick service. But it was really good as you could have snacks and a lot of snacks. And so, but there are big things that counts as snacks, like Dole Whip, or I think even a turkey leg. And so there are things other than just like popcorn and cookies and stuff like that. So, and you know what I saw somebody do that I thought we should have done this? Because when we did this, we rationed our snacks because we were like, oh my gosh, we're gonna, and you can, if you don't use your snacks one day, they roll over to the next day. So then you'll have a lot of snacks. So what you could do with those, which I thought was really sweet, is some people I saw online, you buy the snacks that were like fully packaged, like let's say a sugar cookie or something, and then they give it to a cast member.
That's cool.
As a like thank you for like you were really nice to me and whatever. And I thought, oh, that's sweet. That's
That's cool.
But you know, you want to do a packaged one, not like here's half a bucket of popcorn or whatever left over. But anyway, I thought, oh, that's nice. It's a nice way to like get something out of there.
That's cool. So you think it was definitely worth it if it's back to do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think I don't know what it costs now, but I think it would. I think if we had a family, I'd look into doing that for sure. Just like Memory Maker. Also.
Yeah. So that was gonna be my next question. Is that along those same lines as Memory Maker?
Yeah.
Because everybody has their own phones; they can take their own pictures. I mean,
when you see cast members, there's always those cast members that are there with cameras. So you can stand in line at different places, and they will take pictures of you. You can purchase the picture, or you can hand off your phone or your own camera if you have one, and they will take the picture of you. In that place. Some people say, oh, it's just for the people who want to buy the picture. No, you can stand in line and they'll use your phone and they'll take a picture with you. But they have they can take really, really good pictures. So if you have Memory Maker, and that's an extra cost. It's like $75 for one day, and then $200 for the length of your stay. If you're going to stay longer, if you're going to stay 1, 2 days, 3 days, 7 days a week, whatever, a month, you can use that Memory Maker and you pay that $200 fee. Now, it seems like a lot, but you're gonna get some really, really good pictures. Beautiful pictures, really done, and you get them immediately. So you get them on your phone, you get them via email, I think, so then you can print them out yourself. So I looked at it as like if I was gonna have an actual portrait of my family, let's take them to a photographer, like a real photographer, to have whatever, a Christmas card made, or just a annual picture of your family. What would you pay for that? And you're getting, for sure, $200 for sure. And you're getting tons of pictures. So everywhere you go, whenever you take a picture with a cast member that is there, or that has, they have their cameras and whatever, and they're really cool because then they know cute poses for you to do, and then you can for the castle and with that stuff and whatever. Even when you take pictures with characters, you get all of those sent to you. Like you sign up with your app, the My Disney Experience, and then everything right away goes there. And so they'll just kind of like zap your thing, and then you get all the pictures, and it's really, really, really nice. And in fact, after it's over, I want to say it makes there's sometimes we would get like a video compilation thing, like when we rode Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, it even recorded video of us and put us in a video. It's really cool, and we received that. So again, it's just about the amount of money you want to spend, but it's really nice because you're getting some really good professional pictures done.
But you have great cameras, that's for sure. Yeah.
And you're getting like a bunch. You're not getting just, you're getting.
I remember also, they also are able to add like some, like I think I remember seeing Mickey Mouse in one of the pictures.
Yeah, there was one time they told us, you and I, to sit together, and they said, oh, look this way, or pose this way, or whatever. Yeah. And then when we got the picture, Mickey was in it with us, or something like that. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. It's just an extra little bonus that obviously if you hand them your cell phone, you're not going to get that.
Yeah, that's for
sure. But you don't have to pay for it. It's an extra thing. But if it's like your child's first visit, or if it's an anniversary visit, or whatever, if you can afford it, I think it's a good thing to have, because you're going to get at least. It really depends how often you go up to somebody, but you're going to get some good pictures that you can use, and just hang.
And so I remember one of the biggest things that I guess just stands out a lot is like you're gonna wait in line sometimes for rides and stuff. Where do you find or how do you find out what the wait times are?
You got to
for
get
all
that
these rides?
app for sure. There's the number one.
What
Everything
is
is in
the app
My
called?
Disney Experience
My
app,
Disney.
and so that'll keep track of everything. What's really cool about the app, you can check the wait times on different rides there. It'll tell you. You can book your rides. You can use virtual queue, lightning lane. That's a lot of information, but we can talk about that another time. But you can book your rides there. You can coordinate your meals there. Even if you didn't, let's say you didn't have a dining reservation, but you just want to have quick service, you can actually order through the app. You can order so that your meal's already ready, and you cool. Like I said, it's everything's about saving time, and so you can order your food there.
Does it let you?
What you can do? You can order kids' meals there.
Oh.
If you're an adult.
Oh, okay.
And so then it's a good sized meal. And so you're getting the kids' meal for the kids' price, and it's enough food for an adult.
Does it let you know if a ride is down?
It lets you know everything.
Okay.
Except the name of the guy fixing it. Or gal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll tell you if it's down, and then I think it might say where the estimated time that it'll be ready, or maybe not. But it keeps all of your virtual information queues, your virtual everything is in that app, and I think you can use it to open your doors of your room. Am I making that up?
I don't remember that. Maybe it's the band.
We had our band. That's right. That's true. Whatever it is, I don't know. But anyhow, it's a magical. But also you can track there, like if you're buying stuff, it keeps like you can check your account. You can do it. It tells you it's really helpful to get that, and I like to have it all the time, even when we aren't there. And when I'm just like, for a minute thinking about Disney, I'll go there and I'll be like, it's only this much minutes to get on this ride right now, or like this morning I was saying it's 100.
So you don't necessarily have to be there
in the parks.
Okay.
No. So you can see it like anytime. So even afterwards, you can see like today, I was like, it's 110 minutes to get on Tron right now. Remember this morning, I was just like, so you can just play with it. The one other thing I was talking about was pin trading. People are really into that. And so you might see some people doing that. If you don't know what pin trading is, just look it up. Just go and see what it is. It's wild and crazy. But if you're an adult, you might want to do this. If your kids get into it, but it's something that was years ago.
And it's not a pin like you were holding in your hand, right?
Not a pen trading, but a pin. And so it's like a pin that you would put in a bag. So you originally buy a lanyard. They sell lanyards you wear around your neck. And it comes with a set of pins on it. And then you can, but it usually has whatever. Sometimes you'll get multiples of the same pin, but the idea is you trade. So in the old days when it started, you would trade with other guests, but now you can, it's like there's a lot of spots and stations you can go and you can trade your pins there with cast members, or they specifically have them set up where they have a board and it'll have all these different pins, and then you're just like, you want to trade, and it's so when you trade with a person, you might want to say, I want that pin. Will you trade with me? And they might say no, and then you feel bad or whatever. Or you have to be like, no, I already have like one of those. So when you trade with a cast member, they don't say no. They're not going to tell you no. So they have like a board, they have a pin board and stuff like that. A way to save money to do that, you want to know?
How?
You can go to, if there's a Disney outlet or one of the Disney shops. Now it has to be an official Disney shop. You can't just go buy whatever pins. They have to be official Disney pins. Like sometimes if you go to those, they have, like I used to go to the Disney outlet and see whatever pins were on like the sale, like the least expensive ones, and I buy a bunch of those. And then put them on the lanyard because we had lanyards, so you just put them on there, and then or the kids used to put them. They would get a hat and put their pins on there. It doesn't have to be on a lanyard. Gets heavy, but you have those official pins, but they cost less, and then you can trade them for whichever ones they want. They're going to end up trading them anyway.
I got you.
So if you buy a bunch of them that were like $8 or $9, and then they trade them for one that was that is $5, but it's really the one they want because it's woody or whatever, and you're just like, oh my gosh, they traded.
Well, that's a frugal way to get.
So it's a little bit of a way around, like saving a little bit of money, but you still have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. So do you think we're going to do any rope dropping this time?
We're certainly gonna try. We're the kind of family that stays late. So we always stay until the very, very, very last. Now, when the kids were little and they had extra magic, it means you could, if you stayed on property, that's another thing. If you stay on property, now you have to stay at the higher end hotels to get extra magic. In the old days, any hotel you'd get, but you'd get to stay extra late. So we'd always stay really late. But that's another bonus. If you stay on property, you get that rope drop. You get to get in every day earlier.
Okay.
So yay. And rope drop means that you get to get in. Yeah, that's at the very beginning of the day, like where the rope drops open.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm very lucky and blessed that I've been able to go to Disney many times, and I've never done rope drop. It's really early.
Well, how early is?
Well, I don't know. Early.
7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but you gotta get ready and go and be there and on time and everything. But the thing is this is why
you have to go to work.
Well, you're right, but usually this is the two parts of this. Number one part of it is usually the night before we were there till like midnight or 1 in the morning. Right. So then we're not gonna wake up to be there at 7 or 6:30. Number one. And number two, I would usually book a breakfast, a really good restaurant, or character dining or something, so that we eat a really good meal early in the morning. So that would be what we would do first. So we do that instead of rope drop. But you're still gonna have a magical time, even if it rains. We've been there in the rain. We've been there in the cold. We've been there during a hurricane, and we still had a magical time. Never had a bad day in Disney.
That's cool. Even through the hurricane.
Even through the hurricane.
That's cool. That's
we had
fun.
a good